Getting started in music happened at the very beginning of my creation, pretty much. But as far as, it becoming something I was going to be more active in, besides just, listening and enjoying music and appreciating music, was it was about when I was round about when I was at university. There was like a group of us, and there was a DJ in the group. That DJ wasn't me. I was just, the guy on the podium. I was the guy having a good time. I was just, a bit reckless, I guess, at that age. But then I remember one afternoon, I was just sitting at his place and I was just, chilling, and he was like mixing away, and I started like asking him some questions. I started getting a bit more curious and a bit more, involved, and he kind of showed me, and he wanted to show me how to, touch a record and cue a record, and I was just completely, for me it was like, if I do that, I'm going to ruin the record. What about the needle? Scratching it and ruining it. I was that, completely, novice, but I quickly picked it up. I think if you've got a sense of rhythm, certain things like that, it's like riding a bike. It's like suddenly I'm on two wheels and I know how to do it, kind of thing. That's how it sort of happened as far as the mixing. And from that point on, I was just collecting records. I was enjoying collecting records, doing the same thing I was always doing, but making my own mixes, making my own tapes. I was driving a lot as well because I lived outside of London, so I was doing my own mixes to kind of keep myself entertained and everything. And that was like how it kind of, really sort of began. And then certain opportunities kind of presented themselves a few years later. And, from there it went on to other things. But that's how kind of me getting into mixing happened. For me, what I've been involved in, and I've been lucky enough to be involved in a few, what really stood out for me was three places, four places, there's a lot of places. But if I'm going to like throw something off the top of my head, it's when I went to Japan. Playing in Tokyo was an incredible experience, because the people there are unbelievably receptive to music, straight off the bat. Not that you can almost play anything and get away with it, but the thirst for it is, it kind of turns into this infectious connection, because they're with you and you're with them, and it's a really cool place. If anyone has an opportunity to go there, they must. It's sort of another planet, even though it's of this planet. It's very cool. I would say that place stands out. So go to Tokyo. Very much inspired by it. His name is Danny Tenaglia, and he's from New York. He's a very revered figure in the industry, very much the DJ's DJ, able to really take you on some other journey, because he had an encyclopedic knowledge of music. We're not talking about just someone who just like played this particular style and hammered it out. He took you everywhere you needed to go, because he had that ability, he had that knowledge so that he could harness it and put it together, paint this picture, and with a good sound system and a good club and the people and all the elements. Very much inspirational. And I kind of got a bit cheeky, and I met him one time in London, and I gave him a mixed CD, and I kind of threw my face in front of his face. That kind of, he saw me a couple of times that same week in London, because he was doing a couple of very important shows, and I sort of made sure I was there as well. Kind of position yourself sometimes at a good point and leave an impression that way, and that's how it happened. And I gave him the mix, and a few months later he sent me an email. I kind of liked CD1, So I kind of printed it out, framed it, put it up on the wall. And I wanted to go over to New York and experience, this kind of music being played and, this whole vibe that I hadn't seen before, felt before. And I booked my flight, and then when I did, I kind of cheekily said to him, so, I'm coming to New York, and how about I bring a few records and open up for you, and, I will be absolutely respectful of what I need to do as far as opening up the night for you to do, your thing and work your magic. So he had me sitting on that for a few months. And then like an email around a month before saying, pack your records, you're going to come and open up for me at Vinyl. That was, back then it was a big deal. Like Radio 1 got in touch. They were like, Pete Tong, I remember, did an interview with me asking about that. It was quite a big thing back then because, information wasn't so readily available, and it was about word of mouth, and it was exciting, and it was, thrilling to find out and be a part of. And so, back then it was a big deal, and a lot of things started happening. I mean, I genuinely don't think I've changed one bit. I dedicate the same, devotion and energy and love into it as if it was like the first gig I've done. And, whether it's me playing in front of like 10 people or playing in front of like 10,000 people, it's, the same objective you're trying to achieve. So I can say categorically now I haven't changed one bit. Projects. At the moment, a few things. My album, I'm really desperate to finish that off. It's been in the works for a while. So I've been spending a lot more time at home doing that because I'm not gonna lie, on the road, I enjoy the road. Who doesn't? But the funny thing is, the good thing is, you remember a lot of those experiences and you draw on that and put that all into, in that studio. So there's that. There's a nice, exciting side project with a friend of mine who's a script writer, and he's putting a movie together and sort of scoring the music for that. It's a nice sort of welcome side project. Because I like writing stuff that isn't necessarily for the dance floor as such, just really showing an extension of yourself. A guy came up to me recently, it was like 8 years later from the moment he heard me, and he still had this video on his phone. I mean, back then it was like 30-second clips. It was 30-second clips you could do on your phone or your camera, and then you had to like re-record. But he filmed this particular scene playing this particular track, and 8 years later he wanted to know what that was. And it's very difficult to remember everything in my line of work. But there was something very warm about that kind of blew me away a little bit. Besides the odd, signing, someone's ass or, someone's signing his chest kind of thing. I mean, I could go down that road. That was kind of cool. But that, I'm sure there's more, but that one particularly sticks out because it was quite recent. So it's amazing what memories people keep and treasure and then bring that back to you. I mean, I've been coming here for a long time, and it's always felt like a home away from home, and it really is, wonderful to be back again, especially in the summer, because I've been here in the winter.